maybe a month and a half-ish. I'm not sure exactly the timeline. Honestly, it feels like an eternity since this started, but we finally hit the breaking point when he started doing it at night, screaming, punching, and throwing things at the floor at night. And of course, like I said, it's the wall that shares our bedroom. So here are my boyfriend and I peacefully sleeping in our bed in the middle of the night, and this guy starts screaming and punching. It's not even punching so much as it is like banging on the walls, like for like 15 seconds straight, like the most powerful, like really hitting the walls. I think I saw my life flash before my eyes that day. Like, I was startled when I woke up and realized that that was going on. I believe that first incident of him doing it during the nighttime, I believe he started at around 12 o'clock, like midnight, and he kept us up all the way until 5 o'clock in the morning that night. It's not like constant screaming and punching either. It's very unpredictable. So like he would scream and punch the wall at, let's say, like 12:45, and then it would go completely silent. So you think, okay, that was it. Now we can go back to sleep. But then he'll do it again an hour later, and then an hour later, and an hour later, and an hour later. So he's waking you up every hour of the night. So yeah, that was our first breaking point where we finally decided, okay, even if he is like an aggressive individual, we don't need to put up with this. We need to say something. So that night we took some videos of him doing it. We tried to catch him as best as we could, but as I said, it's very unpredictable, and the punching and screaming like fits don't last for very long. You know, it's kind of hard to catch him in the act of doing it during the nighttime when you're literally being woken up out of your sleep. You know, it's hard to like get orientated and get your phone out and start filming it, especially since it's so unpredictable, and like he'll punch the wall for like 15 seconds straight, and then he'll do it again randomly like 4 minutes later. So it's like, it's hard to catch him in the act, but we did the best we could, and we ended up texting our building manager, who does in fact live on site. He lives in the building. He of course didn't get back to us until the next morning, which would have been like 5 hours later, I guess. That first time that we said something to him, honestly, at this point I don't remember what his reaction was. I think he said that if it ever happened again, to just like call the police. Like, he didn't want to get involved with it at all. So me and my boyfriend were just like, okay, of our dwelling. So yeah, after I sent him that very long, wordy text and sent him the link to the government's website and asked for the contact information of the actual landlord, I think it lit a little bit of a fire under his butt, and he finally started to take it a little bit more seriously. He called me that morning because I texted him in the middle of the night again while it was happening, and he actually called me that following morning, and I spoke to him on the phone, and he said that he was filing a complaint for me with our landlord's office. I guess he has like an office with a secretary or whatever. So he said that he was filing a complaint for us with the landlord's office, and that he would be calling the neighbor who lives next to us and speaking with him that day. So I was pretty happy about that. I was feeling a lot more heard by this guy, because before that he was kind of just, he wasn't really involving himself in it, or really taking it seriously, but yeah, I was a little bit happier when he actually called me, and it seemed like he was taking it more seriously. But really, who knows if he filed the complaint with the landlord. I don't know. But he didn't seem to want to give up the contact info, so whatever. So after that, I was hoping that we would be in the clear since our neighbor was getting talked to, obviously, by the building manager. He was going to call him and say something. I thought that it would be solved at that point, because during one of his screaming spells in the very early part, almost 3 months ago now, I actually heard him very clearly say that he was kicked out of his last apartment. Where did our apartment manager find this guy who literally got kicked out of his last apartment? Thanks for sticking him next to us, buddy. What the heck? Whatever. I mean, I guess people that get kicked out of their apartments still need to find new housing, but they should find help first. Anyways, where was I going with that? Oh, I thought that our neighbor would take it a little bit seriously, since he literally knows the consequence of having complaints against you for noise and stuff. He already lived it. He knows that he could get kicked out for it, so why are you still acting that way? I don't know. But it only took 2 days. 2 days. Only 2 more days for him to start making a ruckus again. And it was on that day that my boyfriend and I finally decided, okay, enough is enough. We need to get a 24-hour security camera that records sound so that we can capture every single time that this guy even makes a beep, because this is getting ridiculous. So we complained to our building manager once again, and he actually ended up coming to our door this time. So originally he called me 2 days prior, and then we complained again and said, even though you talked to him, that's if he even talked to him, we said even though you allegedly talked to him, he does not seem to care. He's doing the same thing. He's still punching the walls. He's still screaming and waking us up in the middle of the night. And at this point, I do not feel comfortable living next to someone who is so aggressive, so loud, and so unpredictable. So he ended up coming to our door and asking, okay, seriously, what's going on? What issue are you having? What time of the day is it? What is happening? And we basically told him the whole story. I said that blows his nose. Like, I told the building manager there has to be holes in the wall. That's the only reasonable explanation as to why I can hear this guy blow his nose, when prior to September I never even heard someone close a